All right, everybody. Let me move this mic a little bit closer. Good evening. Thank you so much for joining me here at the Atlanta News First Alert Desk. I'm Savannah Louie. Happy to be bringing you your top 5 stories for today. It is Wednesday, August 9th. As always, I am very glad that you can join all of us here. Now, I do want to warn you before we get to this first story for this evening. Our first story is quite disturbing, but it is an important one, and it's impacting a new family down in Clayton County. We are learning that a baby was decapitated during childbirth, and now that child's parents are taking legal action. This is a very upsetting story here. Now, fair warning, again, this is incredibly disturbing. These first-time parents are suing. They claim that doctors failed to tell them that their child's head became detached from his body during an emergency C-section. According to the lawsuit, doctors at Southern Regional Medical Center incorrectly delivered the child. A doctor tried to perform a C-section, and during that procedure, according to the lawsuit, the doctor applied too much tension on the child's head. The end result, the child was decapitated. Now, lawyers for the family also claim the doctor tried to cover up this horrific error. We reached out to the hospital, and in a statement, they tell us that they cannot comment. They said due to HIPAA and privacy laws, they cannot talk about their care or treatment in a case. I want to move on here to a different story. Also concerning, actually we'll do that one later, I'm sorry. All right, we're gonna talk now about a different story involving children here, hoping to keep children safe and protect them from people who might be bullying them over the internet. Cyberbullying has become a major problem over the last decade or so, and now lawmakers are talking about a new bill that would hopefully change that. The Georgia Department of Education reports 1 in every 10 children in grades 6 through 12 have seriously considered taking their own lives. Now, lawmakers want to focus on empowering parents and protecting them against online harassment. This girl that you're seeing on your screen, she was a previous victim of cyberbullying. Now, these lawmakers plan to propose legislation that could ensure schools have policies and resources in place regarding proper use of social media and cyberbullying that takes place on social media platforms. Issues surrounding social media use and cyberbullying amongst teens continue across the country and here in Georgia. The proposed legislation, which would, by the way, be introduced next legislative session, would also require social media companies to take steps to verify the age of their users. So that is something we are going to continue to keep our eyes on here at Atlanta News First as lawmakers discuss that bill. All right, moving straight ahead here to a story involving former President Donald Trump. I know he's been all over the headlines lately, and now he is catching media attention for some comments that he made about Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis. I'm going to go ahead and play for you a clip of the former president right here.
I probably have another one. They say there's a young woman, a young racist in Atlanta. She's a racist. And they say, I guess they say that she was after a certain gang and she ended up having an affair with the head of the gang or a gang member.
Those were some accusations from former President Donald Trump. He threw them out against DA Willis at a rally in New Hampshire last night. Of course, in that clip, you heard him talking about the YSL trial Willis is prosecuting against the alleged Atlanta gang. By the way, there have been no accusations of that sort at all over the past 7-month-long trial that has still been going on in Fulton County. And as you heard, he also accused Willis of being a racist. Last week, Willis, who is black, sent out a few examples of hateful messages sent to her office, including one email that used a racial slur to insult her. This week, Trump also started running ads featuring Willis and the other prosecutors who have already issued indictments against him, referring to the group as the, quote, fraud squad. Willis's office had no comments today. Trump and some Georgia allies, by the way, are being investigated over their alleged attempts to interfere with Georgia's 2020 election results. And we are expecting an indictment to be announced any day now here in Fulton County. We are told that that could happen within a 2-week period, that 2-week period starting this previous Monday. All right, if you were watching the news earlier, or maybe you had your Atlanta News First app, you may have gotten a notification about shots fired near Grady Hospital. I just want to give a brief update on that because I know a lot of people were curious about the area, especially because so much of these roads were shut down. You can see one of them right here, for example. Atlanta police are now investigating a series of shots fired near a parking garage very close to Grady Memorial Hospital, Atlanta's only Level 1 trauma center. Hospital officials said in a statement that it was on lockdown for a short time after the gunshots were fired, but operations are now back to normal. No one was shot or injured. That is always some good news there. But I do know a lot of folks were concerned, especially when you see that amount of a police presence in the area. All right, final story I want to get for you tonight. This is from our reporter, Abby Casores, and she's looking at the recent concerns over an uptick in COVID-19 cases happening right here in Georgia and throughout the rest of the country as well. I'm going to go ahead and let Abby explain.
Dr. Amy Eubanks is getting ready to see another patient.
Fever, achiness, sore throat, congestion.
Symptoms consistent with COVID.
We always see a kick up in viral illnesses when the kids go back to school because kind of a pool for that to spread.
COVID cases are on the rise here in Georgia and quickly. In the last week, more than 3,800 people tested positive and more than 300 were hospitalized because of COVID-19. The CDC says they've seen spikes during the summer every year for the past 3 years. The dominant strain is a variant of the Omicron strain. A spokesperson for the CDC says at this time there is no evidence indicating EG3 is able to spread more easily, and currently available treatments and vaccines are expected to continue to be effective against this variant. Help is on the way in the form of a new vaccine. The FDA is urging both Pfizer and Moderna to create a new vaccine aimed at boosting immunity against the original strain and this new one.
This rapid increase, I think, has taken people a little bit by surprise.
The CDC says hospitalizations are still nowhere near where they were last year. They say vaccination is still the best strategy for avoiding the hospital.
And if you're concerned, if you're sick, even if you haven't tested, it's the better part of valor to protect the people around you to wear a mask until you know what you have.
In Bremen, I'm Abby Casores.
Like I was saying, that is all I have for you this evening. I forgot to unmute myself during that story. Thank you so much for joining us. I am going to say goodbye with a wonderful look outside. You can see a few clouds there in the distance, and to hopefully tell us that we're skipping out on the rain for the next little bit at least, we have meteorologist Patrick Pete. Hey, Patrick.
Hey, Savannah, I wish I could be the bearer of such news, but we are still under a first alert, everybody. We have the potential for some thunderstorms, so we still have a little bit of action to talk about, although it looks great outside right now. If you were in the city of Atlanta, no matter where you are, it's looking pretty good. Unfortunately, that first alert was for the evening hours, and we're starting to see that unfold. The National Weather Service, excuse me, sorry. The National Weather Service, just within the last couple of minutes, issued a severe thunderstorm watch for all of the West Georgia counties that you see highlighted here. That's going to include folks in Haralson and Carroll County, as well as Heard and Coweta County, and Troup and Meriwether counties. This watch is set to expire at 11 o'clock this evening, but our friends that are in portions of East Alabama are also under a severe thunderstorm watch, and that watch is set to expire at 8 o'clock their time. So remember, we are an hour ahead here in Georgia, so that's going to essentially be for another 50 minutes or so for folks that are in portions of East Alabama. We have been watching storms that have been firing up across North Georgia, extreme North Georgia, in the Georgia mountains. They've been getting rain, and what we've seen is a trend towards less intensity. We've lost a lot of the lightning, so those storms are starting to fizzle a little bit. We'll continue to watch that just because they could pulse up again. We don't think that's likely. We're shifting our focus now to these storms that are riding the I-20 corridor and moving to the south. We had a severe thunderstorm warning for this particular cell Looks like they're going to allow that to expire, but that same thunderstorm is pushing into portions of Randolph County. So folks that are in Redowie, Ava, Wadley, picking up on some of that rain, and you're seeing that lightning in the distance. So that's definitely going to be something that we continue to monitor as we track this storm off towards the northeast. This cluster is moving at roughly 20 miles per hour. So folks that are in Redowie, this is going to arrive in your neck of the woods your time at 7:28. So that is roughly another 17 minutes from now. Meanwhile, Ava, this is going to arrive around 7:30, and Woodland, this is going to push around 7:45. And I want to make sure that I reiterate, this is Central Standard Time for folks out in Alabama. Elsewhere across the region, there is this thunderstorm that is to the south of that, moving through portions of Alabama, but it is angling towards folks that are in Troup County, and this thunderstorm has been a little energetic. We wanted to put a tracker on this, but it's moving slow as well, so there's lots of time before that moves in. We think that folks that are in LaGrange and areas to the south could see this skirting by at around 9:40 Eastern Standard Time, so that's around an hour and a half from now. So these slow movers producing lots of lightning, producing lots of rain, and some gusty winds. We've actually been in communication with folks with the National Weather Service office in Birmingham, trying to get information as far as what these storms are doing on the ground. We're working with emergency management personnel, and we're going to get some of those updates for you and have those for you tonight at 9 and 10 on Peachtree TV. And of course, meteorologist Fred Campagna is going to have that last look at 11. Meanwhile, I didn't want to leave the folks out that are in the mountains, because you are experiencing some rain. Something that you see is that there are no polygons, no active warnings, no watches in effect for these showers, and most of the lightning has dissipated. So this is trending towards a less intense solution, although that rain is going to be a little bit heavy as we move through White County, Raven County, and Townsend Union counties over the course of the next few hours. Folks that are in Lumpkin County also getting hammered with rain. I think it's pretty wet out there in Dahlonega right now. So we're going to continue to monitor this. This is going to be something that we're tracking through the next few hours. That first alert is in effect through the overnight hours. Scattered showers and storms likely through 10 o'clock, moving through portions of metro Atlanta and points to the south. We will see things gradually dry out around 12 to 1 o'clock, so we will have a lull in the precip. Folks that are working third shift, I think we're going to be able to get out of the house okay just fine. Roads are going to be a little slippery from the earlier rounds of storms, but another line of showers and storms moving in Thursday morning. So that first alert is in effect for the morning drive as well. And some of this rain is going to be heavy at times. Some of the models have been putting a lot of water out. There's about a 15% chance that folks that are north of I-20 could see some sort of flood guidance issued by the National Weather Service tomorrow morning as this rain is coming down. So that alone is reason for you, as you're making your way, whether you're taking the kids to school or dropping them off at the bus stop or going to work, to give yourselves a little bit of extra time, bake that into the process, and then of course remember to slow down. A lot of the shoulder lanes tend to accumulate water. We don't want folks hydroplaning on the road, so maybe drive 10 miles per hour slower. It's just going to help save you and maybe some others around you. That's something we always want to reiterate. And that risk for severe weather will linger beyond 8 o'clock tomorrow. So the Storm Prediction Center has us under a level 1, although we do think that the best chance of this happening is going to be in the morning. Damaging wind, frequent lightning, small hail, and heavy downpours. Here's a look at that line again from another vantage point, 7 o'clock, moving through the city of Atlanta. And then pushing on out towards the east, there will be some straggler showers and thunderstorms on the backside of that, but we think that the bulk of this energy is gone by noon tomorrow. So a couple of waves of storms, one that's moving in right now, that's going to continue to push through the region for the next few hours. Another wave in the morning that should be done by around lunchtime, and then we should be pretty much smooth sailing for the rest of the afternoon. A hit or miss shower or two, not out of the question, but nothing organized. I think we'll have a quieter evening as we push into Friday night. So hour-by-hour forecast for your Thursday has those numbers in the mid-70s for the start of the day, gradually climbing into the mid-80s for the afternoon. Because of the clouds and all of the rain, we do expect it to be a slightly cooler afternoon, but we will see more sunshine build in late Friday afternoon. Unfortunately, Friday morning is starting off messy as well. So these next couple of mornings, as far as getting out of the house and getting on the roads, you're really going to want to make sure you're weather aware, because there will be some showers and storms around that will slow things down, especially where those heavier downpours occur. That is going to cause some blinding rain. Meanwhile, by 12, yet again, starting to dry out across North Georgia, and we expect some breaks in the clouds as we push into the afternoon, and that's going to allow for the atmosphere to warm up. Most folks' temperatures will recover into the 90s before we gradually start to cool down a little bit heading into Friday night, and that's going to set us up for a pretty sweet weekend in terms of rain. Because it is summertime, it's August, and with this flow, there's just that isolated chance of a pop-up in the afternoon. But you can see from that display Saturday and Sunday, both are going to be drier days, as well as Monday. Low-end chances for showers and storms, nothing that's going to be overwhelmingly organized, and that means that you can get out and about. You're just going to want to be heat conscious, because while temperatures are only going to be 3 or 4 degrees above average, hanging out in the low to mid 90s, it will be humid, so it will feel several degrees higher than that. So do not be surprised if that feel-like temperature is near or slightly above 100 degrees as we push into parts of your weekend, especially Saturday, Sunday, Monday. I do think out of those 3 days, Sunday's today, that we could see some of our communities be issued a heat advisory, as those feel-like temperatures could be flirting with or above 105. And we know that once you get above 100, essentially, all of those heat-related illnesses, heat stroke, heat exhaustion, heat cramps, they all become possible. And so we want to make sure that we give you that heads up so that you can stay safe and plan ahead. So leave you with another shot of the city real quick while I check YouTube to see if there are any questions. I see that there's several of you that are on right now. Hey, everybody at home. I know a lot of you are joining us on Atlanta News First, plus on our app, on your TV, Roku, all that good stuff, Amazon. Glad to have you here with us tonight. Leaving you with this 7-day forecast one more time. There are a lot of storms on the radar, and meteorologist Fred Campagna is actually right now tracking some of those storms. We're trying to get some updated timelines on those storms as they move into portions of our area. We have that severe thunderstorm watch that was just issued within the last 30 minutes. We pushed that out on our app, and we also updated our website so you have that information. And we'll continue to track those storms for you live on the air coming up in about 45 minutes. So I'll leave you to the rest of your evening, and I'll see you on the airwaves.